Well, a former Houston Rockets player is speaking out tonight after his arrest in Fort Bend County. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Daniela Guzman. Keith Garvin is off. Patrick Beverley was arrested at his home early this morning. He's charged with assault, family violence involving a household member.
So note, it says family violence involving a household member. This is going to be in DV, domestic violence court. Some courts break it down like that when it is state charges. Typically, they determine if a case is DV if there's either a familial relationship or the people reside under the same roof or in the same domicile.
KPRC2 News reporter Corley Peel joining us now live about why Beverley's attorney says his arrest is a big misunderstanding.
Of course, his attorney is going to say that because that's what he should say.
Daniela, Patrick Beverley's attorney sent us a statement saying that he was defending his little sister at the time of that incident. Beverley is also cautioning the public about these allegations.
Okay, now real quick, this is interesting because let's listen to what's going on here. We have a tale of two stories. It sounds to me, from what we're hearing from his attorney and Pat Bev is putting it out, he's saying, and what I initially saw, initial reports were that Patrick Beverley found his minor sister, who's 15, with a grown man who was 18. And it's reading like, and Pat Bev and his attorneys making it like, yo, he went in there, tuned this guy up to defend his sister's honor. That sounds like the story that we're getting from Patrick Beverley.
Hours after bonding out of jail, Patrick Beverley posted on X saying, "Please don't believe everything you see on the internet. Hope all is well. Love."
Okay, his bond was a $40,000 bond, so of course Pat Bear's going to make that. He probably paid $4,000 or $5,000 to actually get out. Now, real quick, just to talk about the charges so we can get the legal stuff out of the way. What charges are he looking at? He's looking at a third-degree felony in Texas. What is a third-degree felony? Well, under Texas law, Penal Code 22.01, I believe, assault becomes a third-degree felony when the defendant allegedly intentionally and knowingly causes bodily injury to a family member or household member and impedes the normal breathing or circulation by applying pressure on the neck or by blocking the airway. He could potentially be looking at up to $10,000 fine, 2 to 10 years in state prison, no contact orders, of course, lost a firearm, and I think his podcast is with Barstool Sports. He could potentially lose a bag and lose a lot of money, which would be ridiculous.
Fort Bend County deputies showed up to the former Rockets player's home before 4 a.m. Deputies say a situation transpired between family members, leading to a family violence incident. He was arrested and later made his $40,000 bond. Details about the crime are not clear. Beverley's attorney released a statement saying, in part, he cares deeply about his little sister, a young lady, a minor, given that when he unexpectedly found her alone in the home with an 18-year-old man in the middle of the night, he was understandably concerned, as any brother would be, about his sister. However, we don't believe what followed happened the way it's been described, and we look forward to the opportunity to address that in court.
Okay, that's by Beverley's attorney. Leticia Canoyes Hollins is his attorney. Now, real quick, let's go ahead and read what the affidavit says, because, of course, the affidavit says something completely different. So let's go ahead and stop sharing that. Let's share the screen. Let's pull up. No, that indictment is for Friday. We're going to go to window. Hold on. I got to copy that. Paste. My fault, y'all. I'm supposed to have this squared away, and I'm all jacked up. All right, so let's go to what the affidavit says. We got to zoom this in because, you know, your boy a little blind. All right, Patrick Beverley slammed for allegedly strangling his 15-year-old sister during an ugly family argument. So Pat Bev says he was defending his sister as if he whipped the 18-year-old's ass. Let's go down. We know all about this. We know about that. $40,000 bond. All right, let's read what was going on according to his sister. All right, court documents revealed the guard was charged with assault. A report details more of Beverly's arrest, stating the basketball player was called to his mother's home to address his teenage sister and her 18-year-old boyfriend after she reportedly snuck out. Beverly's sister stated that Beverly grabbed her by the neck with both hands and picked her up off the ground by having her feet come off the floor, the report says. However, the horrifying allegations don't end there. Bev's sister stated that Patrick Beverley squeezed her neck, caused her to feel pain she felt as she was losing oxygen and not able to breathe, it further stated. Making matters worse, the report also claimed Beverley laid his younger sister on the couch, stood over her, and punched her once in the left eye before making a statement to her during the assault, to the extent that he will be the family relative to kill her. Of course, he's denying it. Law enforcement officers revealed in court documents that they observed visible neck marks, blood-burst vegetables in the whites of her eyes. Officer noted the younger sister's markings were consistent with strangulation. Beverly's lawyer issued a statement acknowledging the negative details while staunchly defending the Arkansas alum. So we're getting two sides of the story here. Pat Bev said, I was defending my sister from this 18-year-old guy. The sister said, yo, he came in and he probably was upset about that, but proceeded to whip her ass instead of whipping his ass. Real quick, I want to look one thing up. Give me a little bit of patience. All right, so let's see. Real quick, I want to cover this because this is a little bit of a nuance. Okay. All right. So let's talk about this. Texas has a Romeo and Juliet law. I don't know if it applies here, so I'm looking this up as I'm giving it to y'all. They have a Romeo and Juliet law that protect certain close in age relationships from being prosecuted as statutory rape. Texas calls it the close in age exception. All right. Okay, under Texas law, a teenager cannot be charged with statutory rape if all of the following are true. The age difference is less than 3 years. She was 15, he was 18. Now, they're talking about 3 years, so it could depend on when their birthdays are if we're looking at this from a legal standpoint. And the younger person is at least 14 years old, check. And the relationship is consensual, check. And neither person is registered as an offender, probably true. And neither use force or coercion. Examples: 17-year-old and a 15-year-old legally protected, 18-year-old, 15-year-old legally protected, 19-year-old, 16-year-old legally protected. So I'm not saying, hey, Pat Bev, I'm not saying your sister is for the streets. I don't know what you ran in there and saw. You could have saw a full blown out clapathon. But from what we're reading, this 18-year-old did not violate any Texas laws. He just, according to you, violated, I don't know what, your respect or your sister. Now, it's kind of wild for a 15 and 18-year-old. Normally, I don't know, that probably is common these days. I don't know. When I was in high school, it was grown-ass men picking up girls in the 10th grade when I was in the 10th grade. So that shit is crazy. But I don't know. No laws were violated according to the statute we just read. Pat Bev says it as if he whipped the guy's ass. The sister is saying Pat Bev whipped her ass. The evidence that the officers are giving is consistent with her story. And let's say Pat Bev is true. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's say he came in, his sister was getting clapped up at 15 by 18-year-old. Pat Bev snatched the guy off, proceeds to choke the guy out, and whips his ass. That guy did not violate any law, so Pat Bev would still be looking at the exact same charges, strangulation, if that's what he did to this guy. So, I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Can this go away? Could this just get cleared up? Is that a possibility? Yes, it's a possibility. Yes, she made statements. Yes, they probably have photos of the evidence that appear to be consistent with her story, but all of that could go away when you're a celebrity. Now, if you're a regular guy, your ass is probably going to be grass. But Pat Bev is a celebrity. He has some ties to the Texas area. It's possible they may make it go away. If I was Pat Bev's attorney, I would want to talk to the attorney or I would want to talk to the family members. I mean, let's just think about it. I don't know what his other family is doing, but I'm sure Pat Bev is the breadwinner. You do not want him losing his podcast money and his ability to use his name from all those years in the NBA to make money. I know I wouldn't. So I wouldn't be shocked if this get worked out somehow where charges just kind of mysteriously go away. It is possible that prosecutors can just bring these charges even if the victim doesn't want to testify because she made statements, because they have photos, because they have, if I'm not mistaken, testimony from the boyfriend who was there at the time. But I think it's going to go away. I think his celebrity is going to give him a little bit of a favor here, and the fact that he doesn't have any prior connections to the criminal justice system. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. As always, I appreciate y'all. Y'all take care. Peace.